Women's brains come with lots of extra RAM. So they can remember the details of everything. Men's brains come with only the minimum basic requirements to keep us breathing and eating. Okay, that's good. That's why men, a lot of men, we don't hang on to lots of details. They don't stick with us. You know, when an event happens, we just categorize it as an event. All right. Whereas women, it's not just the event, it's all the details connected with an event. You'll run into this when a friend of your family or something will call and you know, she just had a baby. And then you tell your wife, oh, so-and-so's called, they had the baby. And she'll say, well, what was it? And he says, well, it was a baby. So, well, what kind of baby? I don't know, it's a baby. What difference does it make? Well, how long was it? Well, I don't know. You know, how long, how tall, how many, you know, how much did it weigh? I don't know, under 20 pounds. What, you know, just... But there's detail. You know, a woman will come up to a guy and say, how was your day? And then we go to the RAM, and all it's there is that it was a day. And we say, it was fine. And she'll say, well, what happened? And we go to the RAM, and there's nothing there. And we panic. And we go, nothing. But women, they've got all this, you know, that's why when a guy retells a story, it's usually pretty much just a bottom line kind of thing. What happened? This happened, that happened, we're done. When a lot of women share what happened, they relive the event in excruciatingly painful detail. I mean, you are there. Yeah. And it can drive, you know, couples can really fight over this. My wife and I still fight over this one. You know, this just drives us crazy. You know, she just, you know, sweetheart, when your husband asks the question, what did the plumber say? He really doesn't want to know what he said. Well, I said, how you doing? He said, it's fine. I said, it was a pretty nice day we're having. He said, yeah. He said, got any kids? No, what did he say? Bottom line, you know. Details. Men's brains, women's brains. It also affects not only the words we use and stuff, but also it affects how we listen. You go, yeah. Women listen. But we listen too, we're just different. A lot of women say, you know, men's problems, they got selective listening. You know what that is, right? That's when the wife will say something like, honey, go to the store, lay down the mulch, wash and wax the car, get the kids at school, rent some videos, and finish the rest of the dishes. And then he runs that through his selective filter. And all he hears is, honey, go lay down and get some rest. Okay? But that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm really talking about is the difference between single tasking and multitasking. By and large, again, interpolate for your relationships. Again, not everybody's the same way, but by and large, men are single taskers. We do one thing, and we do it pretty well. Women can handle lots of things. Guys aren't wired that way. That's why it's not a good idea to put a man in charge of more than one kid at a time. You know, we can handle the one. Well, sweetheart, you're doing such a good job with Johnny. Wow. Well, where are the rest of the kids? We got other kids? But man, we just very just. I'm a classic single tasker. I'm so bad, I'll be going along and I'll forget the one thing I was doing. I'm completely lost. I need to reboot my brain. Say, whoa, where am I? You know. But men, generally speaking, we do it. Now, what we do very well. One of the reasons that men are so good at what they do is because of this ability to completely focus on just one task. Men usually will rise to the top of any profession, even those dominated sometimes by women. The best hair designers in the world, a lot of times, are men. Best cooks in the world, men. Why is that? Because we have this unique ability to focus on just one thing and do it extremely well, okay? Women are wired differently. You know, they're just and you know, my wife can be, you know, in the living room, watching TV, reading a book, making knickknacks, and talking on the phone all at the same time. It's just amazing to me. Of course, I'll come in and I'll assume she's not watching TV. Hey! What? I was watching that. How can you be watching that? You're making knickknacks and such. Put it back! You know. They're just. Now this affects the way that we listen, because when a man is doing something, he generally cannot hear anything. It's just true. Women are not like that. Women can be doing lots of things and holding 3 different conversations. Just, you know, she'll walk into a room and she'll see her husband reading the newspaper, and she assumes, I multitask. Therefore, he must multitask. But he's running the newspaper reading program, and he can only run one program at a time. He's not hearing jack. And this makes women very angry. But you just need to come over and you got to close the newspaper reading program. You got to load the Listen to Me program. But you got to wait a minute. He needs to reboot. I didn't know you was here. You know? You laugh, but I'm serious, girls. If you see a man doing something, unless he's wired differently, do not be giving him vital information. Because this is a train wreck waiting to happen. You'll have this conversation again. When you swear he told you, and he swears you never told him. You know you told him, but in his brain, you never said jack to him. The problem here is, guys, we get ourselves in trouble because men have this natural defense mechanism that at all costs, do not stop doing what you're doing. So when someone starts talking to you, we automatically have this defense mechanism that goes, uh-huh. Yep. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And we keep doing what we're doing, and we're not, and she thinks you're listening to her. But you're not listening. You need to stop you're big boys, stop what you're doing, turn to the girl, and pay attention to her. So it's not all on the ladies. You're big boys. When she starts talking, stop! Listen to the girl, and then let him go back to what he was doing. Sounds fair, right? Well, I started doing this, and I thought, this is great. I'm doing a lot better. I'm watching the single tasking thing. Yeah, okay, what? And then I'll say, I didn't hear that. And I'll make her back up, and she'll tell me the info, and I got it. Okay. And I thought I was doing a lot better, but still I was getting myself in trouble. You know, she'd walk up and say, it's 6 o'clock, are you ready? For what? You know, that happened to half you guys tonight, right? We're doing what? I told you. No, you didn't. Yes, I did. And after the races, we would go. And I thought, man, what in the world? Because I'm watching this single tasking. I don't remember her saying anything about it. And I thought I was losing my hearing. So I went to a doctor. True story. I went to the doctor. And I walked in. He said, well, how you doing? I said, oh, okay. He said, well, what seems to be the problem? I said, well, I think I'm losing my hearing. And he says, well, you're getting up there in age, So ears are one of the first things to go. And I said, well, that's one of the first. I can handle that. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. But, so I said, well, go over to Nurse Cratchit. She'll test your ears, And so I follow the lady, and I walk into this room, and they got this cheap box on a table with some real chintzy headphones. And she says, all right, now, put on the headphones. When you hear the beep, raise your hand. If you don't hear the beep, don't raise your hand. Apparently, I look really stupid. So anyway, I turned around and we began. It's pretty soon she goes, really, you can hear all that? And I turned around and said, yeah, why? She's hitting the box. I don't know, piece of junk. What's the matter with this thing? So what's the problem? She said, according to this, you can hear what cats and dogs can hear. I don't know what to... She's hitting a box. She says, I'm going to send you to a specialist. You ever been to the specialist? They got this Yo Mama soundproof room, the thick door, You got the person, sitting behind the glass, You feel like you're in a people aquarium. Sir, would you sit down? But anyway, so at the time we lived in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and right downtown Green Bay, there was a place called Eye and Ear Associates. I'd never heard of them before. I had no reason to hear from them. But she said, I'm going to send you these people. They have all this fancy equipment. And so she takes the doctor's pad and she writes eye, ear, and she abbreviates associates and hands it to me. I said, what kind of doctor is this? It's a true story. She says, what do you mean? I said, I heard of eye, ear, and throat. I never heard of this. She said, let me see that. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. So she wrote out associates. I went, okay. Thought I was going to be in for a very uncomfortable test there for a minute. So I go to the eye, ear, and, doctor, and I get in there and I sit down and she's behind the glass and she has to push the button to talk. Okay, now put on the headphones. When you hear the beep, spin around, and we began. I kid you not, she goes, really, you can hear all that? I felt like a moron, all right? I take the printout to the specialist. He goes, what are you doing here? You got better ears than me. I said, I don't know, man. She says, are you ready at 6 o'clock? I just want to go get it. So I go home and I walk in the door and she says, well, what the doctors say. She doesn't sound like that, by the way. I say that because people used to come up to me saying, she doesn't have a voice like that. I just do it for effect. By the way, we've been married for 32 years. We have 2 grandsons. Very cool. Beautiful boys. One's 10 months old, the other one's 8, and they are just such a delight. I love grandchildren because now it's payback. Give me. You want some more sugar? There you go. Okay. Bye. You know. My son Philip's here with us. He's running the audio, and on our 30th wedding anniversary, Phil gives me a call up and he says, "Hey, Dad, 30 years. That's really something." I said, "Well, thank you, sir." I said, "But you know, truthfully, Phil," I said, it only feels like 10 minutes. He goes, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, 10 minutes underwater." Oh, lighten up. All the girls, "Oh, I can't believe he said that. What is she going to think?" It's just the joke box, all right? Just a joke. So I come back from my ear thing. She said, "Well, what they say?" I said, "Well, they said I can hear what cats and dogs can hear." She says, "Well, it's not your problem. Your problem is just don't pay attention." And I thought, but I've been paying attention. I was watching this single tasking thing, and so I thought, I'm going to do a test. I want to see how far she gets away before I can't hear her. So the next day we're sitting in the kitchen, and she comes up, and she's talking to me, la, 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 and I go, uh-huh. And then she walks a little bit further away. She says, la, 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 la. I go, okay, I can hear that. And she gets a little further away, la, 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 just doing multitasking thing. Then she goes into the living room, la, 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 la. And now she goes into another room. She's now on the other side of the house, still talking to me. I said, "Hey!" She yells back, "What?" I said, "I'm on the other side of the house." She goes, "You don't listen anyway." The next day, I caught her. This time she goes upstairs. She's on another floor, still giving me vital information. That's when it started dawning on me. Wait a minute. We might single task, but these women so multitask, they just keep doing what they're doing, and whether or not you're in the same area code is irrelevant. Irrelevant. That's the word. I had a guy the other day says, "You know, my wife's like that. She'll be talking to me. She's by the dryer, and she'll be telling me something important. La 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 la. Then she'll stick her head in the dryer, reaching for something. La 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 la. And boy, you better do that, or you're gonna be in big trouble." She still does that to me. We'll be like a real busy highway, just all kinds of noise, and she'll be talking. "You know something that's really important? So you better be careful about it." What? I didn't hear what you said. Laws of physics, girls, it applies to you. It would help if your husband was in the same area code. Okay. Now, I first shared the story at a men's conference that I was speaking at, and I thought it was just a funny story that had happened to me. But as I'm sharing it, all these men's heads are going. I had one guy come up to me afterwards. He says, "You know, Pastor, I'll be in the bathroom. The door is closed. The fan is on. There's tile everywhere, so sound just bounces around in there. I'm standing there. All I can hear is the sound of rushing water. figured out that's why we miss sometimes, girls. What? What? Another mystery solved. Girls, don't be so multitasking that you're doing a gazillion things, giving him vital information. All right? And especially if he's doing something. I'm telling you, this simple thing that I'm talking to you creates more arguments and more frustrations in marriages, and we're fighting over nothing. But you know you're really married to a multitasker when during a moment of intimate passion, she suddenly blurts out, "Oh, by the way, the plumber says the toilets are broken." Focus, woman, focus! But man, she can make love to you and plan next week's dinners and, think about the toilets. Oh, it's all the same to her. I need my tablet back up here. I want to show you something. In no other area, men's brains and women's brains, do men and women think more differently than in this area of sex. And we'll get into it in a lot more detail tomorrow. But I want to show you something here that I think will be of great interest to you. Give my lovely assistant a hand. Now, sex is a pretty big issue, particularly for men. For us, our sexual interest peaks at about age 18. And then goes down from there. So if you were to chart it out, it would look like something like this. It peaks at about age 18 and then goes down. And then you're dead. Now, something's important for women to understand. When it comes to this area, we're no longer driven so much by our brains or by our hearts, but it's by a chemical. It's called testosterone. And it runs through our blood. It runs through our blood, and it drives us crazy. You just... If you girls knew how much this drove us crazy, you'd be more disgusted with us than you are right now. We downplay it, man. And this, I'm telling you, and as funny as this little chart is, and as true as it is for so many men, if for some reason as a man ages, his testosterone levels begin to decline, his interest in sex will start to decline. And if his testosterone level drops dramatically, his interest will go way down. Same head, same heart, same guy, and now he's not interested in sex. You treat that man, and it's very easy to do, with testosterone supplements, and boom, he's the same wild man you married. Same head, same heart, same guy. Now he's, come here, baby. All right? So this is not because we're sickos. It's not because we're perverts. It's not because we're broken. God wired us this way, and he did it on purpose. Well, what was that purpose? I'm going to show you in a minute, but you just need to really understand this. And the truth is, when we get this rush of testosterone, it just messes with us. Now, for the love of God, don't raise your hands. But most men will admit that we usually receive a testosterone rush, usually very early in the morning, and for no reason at all. Dun 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 dun. 10 hot. And it just wakes us up. Just we're not thinking about anything. All right? And that's usually when a man reaches over and whispers those 3 words every woman loves to hear. Hey, you awake? We'll be talking more about that tomorrow, okay? All right, so why does God wire men this way? Okay, now to explain this, I need to do an anatomy lesson. Okay, y'all okay? Hang on, Margaret, he's gonna draw pictures. It'll be okay. We'll keep it clean. Okay? Now, we'll call this the girl's heart. And in the interest of keeping everything at least PG-13, we will refer to this as the place of happiness. I had a lady come up to me recently and she goes, man, I can't even go to Walmart anymore. Smiley faces all over the place. It's like, Now, at some fundamental level, this is every man's basic interest in a woman. It's true. It's true. Now, women say, well, that's terrible. There shouldn't be about that. It should be about companionship and fellowship and sharing. Girls, if your husband was interested in companionship, fellowship, and sharing, he'd have gotten a golden retriever. He's interested in this, and he's supposed to be. That's the way God wired men. But what men fail to understand is the key to this is this. And if a man successfully touches this, she gives him the green light, and now he can touch this. So this sex drive, guys, is God's way of constantly reminding a man, and it keeps coming back. It like never stops, just on average, a man will feel the need for sexual release on about every 72 hours. That's every 3 days. Some more, some less. My husband's every 72 minutes. But that's your problem. But anyway. But seriously, the reason that keeps coming back is to motivate the man, be nice to the girl. It's not so you can just go, hey, you awake? Are you hearing me? A lot of guys do that. As soon as they feel the buzz, they're just reaching for the girl. Come here, baby. Come here. Come here. Don't be a moron. She won't want to come here. The reason that buzz hits you again, remember, be nice to the girl. 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 I got to be nice to the girl. And this is what motivates me. I try to be nice to my wife. And I spend time with her, and I take her to lunch every day, and I'll take her shopping. And well, Pastor Mark, do you like going shopping? No, I hate it. You know, she drops me off at the bench with all the old guys, and I sleep with them. You know. Then she comes, picks me up, drops me off at another bench. You say, well, if you don't like it, then why do you do it? I'll tell you why. Because I want some of this. I'm no idiot. You got to be nice to the girl. You got to pay attention to the girl. And really, single women. I don't know, how many single women are watching this, but inevitably there's single women here, and that's great. And a lot will be watching this. But, when a woman gives a man this before marriage, she is a nitwit of astronomical proportions. You would never build a house and pay the contractor in advance. Are you hearing me? If you're going to build a $250,000 house, and which here in Phoenix will get you a one bedroom with nothing. Man, I got a huge condo on a lake in Wisconsin for $250,000, man. I'm telling you, here you got nothing. But anyway, you wouldn't pay the guy in advance and give him, here's the $250,000. Do you know why? The house will never get done on time. He'll never do what he's promised to do. Why? Because it's just the nature of human beings. You pay them as they hit certain marks, certain things they accomplish. You finish it, you give them some more, and then you wait till everything's right, and then you close. Why? Because that's the way people are wired. If you were just to give it to them, you would be a nitwit, a moron. That's what women are doing today. They're coughing this up front, which is every man's basic fundamental interest in a woman. You've already given him everything he wants. And then you sit around and say, well, aren't you going to marry me? Aren't you going to spend more time with me? Aren't you going to... No, he's not. Why won't? Because you're an idiot. That's why. Don't do that. Give him that thing. You make that bar earn it. If there ain't no ring, you ain't getting the thing, is what you need to tell him. No, seriously, girl, I don't know what. There's something that really happened in the female culture. I think it's because of the women's lib thing, and they think, well, now we can go out and we can be as sexual as men and stuff like that. But they are fighting against their own interests. There are millions of women in America today that are so frustrated they can never get this. They can never get this. You know why? Because they're dumb. I'm serious. I don't mean it in a mean way, but they're doing a dumb thing, like just coughing this up to every guy that comes along, thinking this. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Now, every woman's basic interest in a man is this. What a lot of women fail to recognize is the key to this is this. And if you touch that, he gives you the green light, and you can touch this. So I thought you said women weren't supposed to do that. Outside of marriage, inside of marriage, you got to work it this way. Outside of marriage, you defeat yourself. But inside of marriage, you have to realize this is a very important deal. It is. It's huge. A lot of women treat this like a side issue. It is not a side issue in marriage. It is the central issue. It truly is. And I'm going to really explain this in greater detail tomorrow. You get this right, things will flow a lot better in your life. You try and discard this, it shouldn't be about that. He shouldn't be interested in sex. He's just a pig. You are fighting now against your own interest doing it that way. You've got to be smart about this, girls. The key to this boy's heart, they used to say when I was growing up that the key to a man's heart was his stomach, but they were about 6 inches too high. And this is important. I got to tell you, girls, if it weren't for this, we probably really wouldn't deal with y'all. I know that sounds terrible, but I'm just telling you like it is. You know, you take that out, man, I don't think we'd go through the trouble, honestly. This is a game you got to let him know he can win with you. And we'll talk more about this in detail tomorrow. But the crazy thing about it, see, is the key to what you want, here's the door. And for the guys, for what you want, here's the door. And it is the perfect standoff. It is the ultimate standoff. People say, what was God thinking? People say it to me all the time. What was God? This is exactly what God was thinking. The key to you getting what you want is to give your spouse what they want. Now, it's not easy. And sometimes you'll mess up, but you got to constantly work for this. You can't all of a sudden disregard this. Some guys, they never pay attention to the girl. They're never nice to the girl. And wonder how come they never get any sex. Oh, I never get any sex. How come? Because you're an idiot. I mean, for crying out loud, be nice to the girl. You've got to touch her heart. That's your key. But a lot of guys say, well, I told you I loved you once. If anything changes, I'll let you know. I wonder how come I'm not getting any sex. Well, because you're just blowing it. You're blowing it. And girls, same thing with you. The key to this is this area here. Don't dismiss this. If you guys will flow in this thing, it works and it's great and it's extremely powerful. It is the most powerful thing God ever designed to connect two people. And we'll get into it in a lot more detail tomorrow.